own acts have caused so much harm and so much of suffering for this young lady that it is so gratifying when we hear the words guilty of aggravated rape. I'll defer to General Norman.
The only thing that I have to say is that this case has always been about the conscious choices and decisions that each of these young men made on that night. It was never about anything else. The fact that they were Vanderbilt football players at the time should not overshadow the decisions that they made when they decided to commit a violent crime. And it shouldn't overshadow the harm that they caused this victim that day and the harm they continued to cause every day after that, and that she will have to endure for the rest of her life. We are very appreciative of the jury's thoughtful decision.
General Norman?
And I was going to say,
this particular case deliberations took longer than any other of the trials. At any point, did you start to lose faith in the process or wonder what this meant for Brandon Banks?
No, I mean, this is our criminal justice process, and we have faith in this process. And while the length of the deliberation, I can't lie and say that it, wasn't somewhat concerning. I mean, at the end of this, this is how our criminal justice system works. So we absolutely have faith in the system.
And what conversations did you have with the victim after the verdict was read?
Those are private conversations that I don't feel comfortable disclosing.
I did see General Laura and Detective Gish smile and nod back at her. What was your sense that she may be feeling right now?
well, I think as with any of the other verdicts, I would take a certain sense of relief. Just sitting through and waiting as an attorney for a verdict is very, not painful necessarily, but it is stressful. And I can't imagine someone who is a victim of such a crime also going through that. So I would say a sense of relief, and that knowing that Mr. Banks at sentencing will be looking at the minimum of 15 years day for day.
Were you at all disappointed that the law of criminal responsibility did not lead to convictions for Mr. Banks?
Well, I'm not going to guess at this point what the jury's reasoning was. Again, we're not going to question that. Whatever their decision may have been, whether it was that or something else, we accept the verdict, and we're definitely very satisfied with the verdict.
What has changed your strategy for the fourth defendant?
We haven't thought about the fourth defendant, and we're not going to, at least not today. That's on down the road. But
can you elaborate on how it feels to be closer to coming to an end to this, to some sort of finality for this?
I haven't really given it that much thought. It was getting the finality of the verdict in this case. It's the one step at a time. So that's the way I feel right now. It's just grateful for the verdict, and that we can all go home.
What were your thoughts on the defensive strategy that basically Banks was a victim of bullying and was felt compelled to do what he did because of his circumstances and his reputation?
Well, it's not a legal defense. Bullying is not a defense to committing any crime, much less a violent crime, which I feel like we expressed that in our arguments to the jury.
Can you talk about the victim and her dedication to this case and being here every step of the way? You mentioned it's 4 years to the day. This is a long time for someone to carry this forward.
It is a long time, and honestly, the media scrutiny that this case has received is a burden, and she is one of the strongest people I know. Every time that we've been here, she continues to amaze me that she is so strong, and she continues to get stronger every single time that we have had to do this. She is an absolutely amazing person and resilient.
Mr. Mayor, I know you mentioned, you're taking it one step at a time, but Tip McKenzie has testified 3 times, helped with convictions in these 3 cases. Will he be offered a plea deal, or would he go to trial?
His case is pending, and because of that, I cannot comment at all about what's going to happen to Mr. McKenzie in the future. We'll address that at the proper time.
We saw former General Thurman came in and sat in on the victim's testimony. Have you all heard from him yet, or a text message at least? What do you think he's thinking right now, since he's played a part in this for so many years?
I suspect he has been following this all the hours that we have been out, and I believe Norman may have just texted him a few minutes ago.
He's pleased with the outcome.
Yes, he's a member of this team, and at one time I thought about putting an empty chair between us and just saying, this is General Thurman's, because he was with us every step of the way, if not here in person, but certainly in spirit, and his encouragement and dedication, not only to this case, but everything he's given the citizens of this community for so many years. He can't be replaced.
Was it reassuring to see him throw on a suit and come for that testimony, that big day?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We've been in constant contact and communication with him, so he was not relieved of duties and responsibilities during all of this.
And I think it would be remiss, these gentlemen, they're the ones who put in the hundreds, if not thousands of hours, essentially who solved this case and brought us to where we could present the matter to the jury and get the convictions. So the city owes them a debt of gratitude, and we just can't thank them enough for what they've done.
Thank you, Rod. Is there anything you could comment on why this one perhaps is different than the other two, in the notion of length of time to decide it and the ultimate outcome of some of these charges and guilty?
Not really. Different juries, different lawyers.
Different circumstances.
Yes. Different defense strategies. We don't necessarily have the ability to change what we have in our proof, but no, I don't attach any significance to that.
What about the length? 4 years is a long time. What has that done to you guys?
In one sense, it seems like it was just yesterday, but no, I mean, to have something that's, for years, to be never out of your thoughts, the files never out of your office, it's a case like very few. This one was like none other, but yes, 4 years is a long time, but if it was going to take another 4 years, I think we'd be in for that as well.
For any of you, what's the message to maybe younger people who felt like just being in the room, or they felt like not reporting was the way to go, or that they had minimal participation? What's the message from this case to other young people that may not realize that even being there and participating is guilt?
Well, I don't know that that is a message, because being present and not participating legally, it may be, morally, a person should say something, but it's not a crime to be present. We see that, seems like more daily, where a crime is occurring and people are pulling out their cell phones and taking pictures of it, as opposed to coming to someone's aid, calling 911. I mean, in every case, we think that it would hope, not think, but hope that everyone would be there for their fellow human being. And that's human nature and what we would like to see. So it's see something, say something, do what you can, certainly without harm to yourself. Don't know that that's necessarily a message, but it's, I think, throughout what we just expect from anyone, or hope that anyone would do when they see something happening.
Also chiming in on the spirit of complacency and intent that we saw with so many of the young people throughout this whole thing. There's a message, being complicit, excuse me.
Well, I think the message needs to be is that young men need to respect women. They need to respect women as human beings in their words and their actions, and that needs to happen from people like these defendants that committed these acts, but also the other people that saw it happening and didn't do anything. There needs to be more respect for women from young men. And I think that's something that definitely this case should bring to the forefront and create that conversation within people's homes and families, so that hopefully we have a new generation of young kids going off to college and we can say that this will never happen again.
And let me add this too, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't say this. I've been doing this for 20 years with Detective Mayo. I've worked every case under the sun. I've never met a person as strong as the victim in this case. She's not a beacon of strength. We know what the pillars of society are. She is a pillar of strength. So I hope that other victims out there can see how strong she was and how much she had to endure through this whole 4 years. This is 4 years today. It's mind-boggling what she's had to put up with, and she is stronger now than I've ever seen her in my life. So she is a true pillar of strength and my hero. I hope my daughter grows up as strong as she is.
Where do you think that strength comes from?
It's her inner soul. It's her inner soul. It's the way she was raised. It's herself. It's her makeup. It's everything about her. She is a very, very strong woman.
For the audience watching at home, could you talk just a little bit about the charges he was found not guilty of? What are those for people watching so that they have an idea?
They were the other counts of the indictment that were part and parcel of the episode, but beyond that, they were just part of the other charges.
Okay, thank you.
All right.